We're so honored today to have invited our one and only Richard Brooke to our team meeting.
Thank you, Gretchen. Thank you, Joanne. It's an honor to be here.
So maybe Joanne, would you want to introduce Richard and what
do I still need to introduce him?
Yeah.
Is that why everybody already knows who he is? Let's not waste time.
In case
otherwise they won't get it.
people
dispense with the introduction.
Just a short introduction.
Okay, well, Richard is I have know of him when he was, before you joined Young Living, actually. He was a very well-known network marketing coach. And I think the reason why we all know about you is because how Adam rise to the ranks in a very short period of time. And he became the youngest Royal Crown Diamond in Young Living, and a man. And he heavily show appreciation, openly share appreciation with Richard in the community. So I started buying his books and reading about him and learning, because as you all know, I started not knowing how to build a network marketing business. And from his books, I have learned, and from the things that you've taught, I have learned how to, the little tricks and how to, and the perspective of building a Young Living business. And it has really helped me. And obviously, a few years later, you joined us, and you have been such a how do I say this? Such a gem to our community, especially when there are challenges that comes up. Richard would always come out and say something with so much wisdom and so much grand vision, and it helps the community stay on track and move forward. And I would love to share your wisdom and your knowledge with our team so that they can have that kind of perspective, especially because most people in Hong Kong who come into Young Living fell in love with the products, want to build a business, but not sure what to do. So yeah, and our team have been doing your fireside chat, and we've been teaching, and we've also been using your book. And we've had, I think, about 6 months worth of weekly Zooms on the things that you've taught us. So we're very happy that Gretchen has invited you to join us today. And we have a list of questions, and we will also open the floor to questions afterwards.
Right?
And we encourage people to also put down their messages, their questions for Richard on the chat room. And we also have prepared some questions that I'm sure a lot of people would love to hear from Richard. So of all the industries, why would you choose network marketing?
Well, there's a lot of soft benefits to network marketing. Soft, I mean, like personal development, leadership development, community, friendships, travel, adventure. I don't know that I could make this claim today because I haven't been that active in the field in years. But I used to be able to make the claim legitimately that I could get in my car and drive from one side of the United States to the other, which is about 3,000 miles. I don't know the kilometers, but and never stay in a hotel room, and never buy a meal, and never call ahead.
What do you mean by never call ahead?
Never call ahead and ask someone, hey, can I stay? Hey, are you around? I could just show up and say, hey, I'm in town. And I'd end up getting a meal and having a place to stay.
Wow.
Wow. Friendship
and that's not
everywhere.
That's not unique to me. It's just, it's the essence of being in the people business. in that geography of the United States. The same would apply to any geography. But that's the soft benefit of network marketing, is that you're supercharged into the people business. You have hundreds, thousands, could be tens of thousands of people supercharged into your life. And I've always had the sort of the definition of life not as how many years you live, but how many experiences you create in those years, how many memories you have. I think if you and I have notice and we're lying there and we know we have a couple of minutes left to live, we're not going to think about, how many years we lived. We're going to think about the extraordinary experiences we had with people. And so in that sense, somebody could live to be 100 years and not live near the life of somebody that only lived 40 years. If the 40-year-old had a lot of extraordinary experiences, and because of being in the people business, I have just been fortunate to have thousands of extraordinary experiences. Those are the soft benefits. I suppose the other soft benefit is, if you knew me 50 years ago and you saw me today, I would be unrecognizable in my personality. I'll just use personality as sort of the lump sum of who I was and how I showed up in the world and how I communicated. And I was a total introvert, very insecure, angry, didn't like people, didn't like being around people, never, ever would speak in public. So if you saw me today, you say, well, that's not the same guy, right? So how did that happen? It's just all personal development. It's the journey, and that's the soft benefit. Now, the hard benefit of network marketing, which is a more precise and more relatable answer, maybe, Gretchen, to your question, is this is the only income model on the planet where, without investing any significant amount of money, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, without investing anything significant, this is the only income model on the planet where you can build an income once in a finite period of time and then get paid forever. Whether it's $1,000 a month or $10,000 a month, you can build it once. Now, how long it takes you to get to that level varies. It might take 2 years, it might take 4 years, it might take 7 years. But you can build your income, your community of customers that pay you every month. And then, because our products are so sticky, they have such a high retention rate, they have such high loyalty, that people keep buying them. And I'm not talking about just for a few years. I'm talking about for decades. Now, Young Living has already proven that people will buy these products for 30 years. We have customers that have been buying these products for as long as the company's been in business, 30 years. It's 3 decades. But I have clients, I have coaching clients in other companies that are the grandchildren of the people that built the business. Like Shackley comes to mind. That's a 60-year-old company, twice as old as Young Living. The grandparents built the income. They died. The parents inherited the income, did whatever they did with it. Maybe they built it some more. Maybe they just enjoyed it, and then they died. And now I have as clients 25, 30, 35-year-old grandchildren that own this Shackley income.
Wow.
And there is absolutely no reason for them not to expect to give it to their children 30, 40, 50 years from now. I don't know where else on the planet you can find a product you love, authentically love. And, you know, one of the distinctions of our model is you can't fake it here. You can't drive a Mercedes onto the BMW dealership, park it out back, and walk out front and sell BMWs. You can't do that here. You either love these products and then you're qualified to earn money, or you don't. And it's got to be authentic. It can't be, well, I want to make the money, so I'm going to figure out how to fall in love with these products. You either love them or you don't. But if you do, then all you have to do is tell your story. And you don't have to invest any money. I mean, nothing significant. And you can build an income, and you can build an income that lasts a lifetime. And that's why.
So of all the companies, why would we be choosing Young Living? I know you have a group called Why Young Living, Why You, right? So why would we, because everyone here are either users with Young Living, long-term users, fans, and even business builders with Young Living. Can you share with us, and I'm sure you have mentored a lot of Young Living leaders and given a lot of talks in Young Living, and why would we be choosing Young Living? Why would Young Living be so good?
The easiest answer, the most important answer for me, the most compelling reason for me was the product retention, the customer retention. So I've told this story a lot of times. Adam Green was a coaching client of mine, and he was having a lot of success, and he was actually bringing me a lot of coaching clients that were on his team and were sidelined. Brenda Schuler was a client. And these people would tell me stories about, well, I've been in Young Living for, almost all of them said, well, I've been in Young Living for 7 years, but I didn't start building till, 2 years ago or 18 months ago. It's almost always, right, a customer in hibernation or germination for 3 or 4 or 5 years. And I always thought, wow, you just left millions of dollars on the table because you didn't figure this out for 5 years. But people would tell me, well, I've been in for 18 months and I'm making, $6,000 a month. And I would say, well, how'd you do that? And they didn't know. They would say, oh, I don't know. I just had some classes, right? They said something like that.
Yeah, I have to tell you, we have quite a few diamonds who are like this. We just made diamonds, but we didn't know how we get there.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's the magic of the products and the community. And so I am a systems and numbers person. And so I said, Adam, could I get into your back office and dig around and look at some of your numbers? I need to understand why people are having so much success, but they don't really seem to know what they're doing. And so he just, okay, here's my back office. And so I'd say, well, how do you calculate this? What does this number mean? And so we got to this number. I don't even remember what the back office called it, but I asked him, I said, how do you calculate that number? And he said, I'll never forget his exact words. He said, that's the percentage of people that have ever joined my team, and his team was 7 years old, that are on $100 or more, whatever it was called back then, essential rewards or loyalty, whatever. I call it auto ship. And his number was 46%. And I told him that was not true. I didn't use those words, but
You couldn't believe it.
Yes, I could not believe it. And why couldn't I believe it? Well, because I've been a student of our profession for, okay, that was, let's say, I'm going to say 7 years ago. So at that time, 38 years full time in our profession. And I'd never seen customer retention like that. I think there's a couple of companies that come close, but any company that's over 20% is should be a multi-billion-dollar company. And if you look at companies like the biggest companies in our profession, like Amway and Herbalife and Nu Skin and companies like that, those are single-digit customer retention companies. Single digits.
Yeah, I heard we are like 4 or 5 times more than the average.
Young Living is off the charts.
Yeah,
we're 55.
We're not supposed to share, right?
Hong Kong
is that your team?
Is
that your team?
You can say
Hong Kong. It's 55.
It's crazy. So why is that? I looked at, okay, well, why is that? Is it because Essential Rewards is so lucrative and so amazing? Well, it's awesome program, but no, it's not because of that. Other companies have great auto ship programs. It's just the products. It's how sticky the products are. And it's, there's a million products that's not it. There's probably only, 40 products that matter. And it's those 40 products that people try and they fall in love with, and they have a visceral, like in their body, they have a response to the product that they language. This stuff works better than anything I've ever tried. And the product keeps producing. And, here's something that, I mean, most people don't think the way I do, but here's another reason why it's so remarkable. When somebody becomes a customer, they are the most vulnerable piece of the puzzle in Young Living. Because if I decide, I'm going to, I'm going to get on Ninja Red. I'm going to become a Ninja Red customer. Okay, that's our brand name for our Wolfberry product, right? Well, okay, all of a sudden I'm a Wolfberry advocate. So sooner or later, right, I'm going to type into Google Wolfberry. Now what's going to happen? Every Wolfberry product on the planet is going to bombard me with how much better their product is, how much cheaper it is, how much better package, better story, right? I'm going to get assaulted with competitive marketing. And what customers generally fall prey to is, just show me something I think is about the same, but it's cheaper. You show me something that's cheaper, I'll buy it. Wolfberry is Wolfberry. I'll buy it cheaper. And that's why most companies lose their customers. Today, it's because the internet aggregates all competitors onto my computer screen or my phone and assaults me with their offers. And all offers are marketing, right? So marketing lies. Marketing equals lying, right? Here's my product. Here's how great my product is. Lying, lying, lying. And it's half as much as what you're paying, right? In those conditions, for Young Living customers to stay loyal at 40% or higher is mind-blowing. So to finish, I'm not a product person like most Young Living people. I appreciate extraordinary products, but I don't go gaga for products. Here's why I appreciate products. I appreciate the customer retention of products. Because if I can find a product that the customer retention is high, here's what I know I can do as a network marketer. I can build an empire. I can sell the income option with confidence and conviction. I can back it up. Because what good does it do to bring on customers if they just leave? That's just, right? That's a hole in the bucket. That's lots of holes in the bucket. And it then makes the income option a fraud. But if you have legitimate customer retention, then the entire business model is legitimate and grows exponentially. And then it allows me to focus on what I like to sell. I don't like to sell products. That's just not my jam. I love selling the income option of network marketing. I love showing people how to build it once and get paid forever. I love showing people how to change their life with a totally separate source of income, not quitting their job and going full time, but let me show you just how to bring an extra $1,000 or $2,000 a month into your household every month for the rest of your life. Now let's plan your life. Life planning becomes totally different with that kind of extra income. And I love that part of network marketing. So when I found that, Gretchen, I said to myself, and as you know, I owned my own company. My retention with my products, which are extraordinary products, they really are nutrition products, 8%. That was my retention. So I was leading a group of leaders, business builders, down a path of building their business with 8% retention. And it was working. And why did I join Young Living? Because I'm a servant leader. And my job as a servant leader is to serve the people. And so I ran it's actually on my website. It's even in the group, Why Young Living, you can go look at it. I ran a side-by-side, it's called an extrapolation, where company A, I think, had retention of 10%. Company B had 40%. They both recruited the same number of people in the beginning. And I ran those companies out for 10 years. Now, most people would think, well, company B that retains 40% will be 4 times bigger than company A that retains 10%. 17 times bigger. So I was leading people down an opportunity path where I could have been leading them to 17 times more income. And I just decided owning my own company was not worth that discrepancy. As much as I loved owning my own company, and I really did love being in charge, but I couldn't compete.
I think there's also, thank you, Richard, for your experience. I think there's also another thing that we can see from Richard's story is the nobility of Richard that I would think that I would like to learn from, is to put down his own ego of owning his own company and bringing the team, because that will serve the team better. And I think that's also one of the really great traits that I admire Richard for, is that you're a noble person. That I really, really admire that, because it's not easy. When it comes to anything to do with money, there's always ego involved. And I have never actually seen you have that ego thing that goes around. And I would also like to be able to teach that to our team, is the noble integrity of being a Young Living servant leader, which is very important, because when we earn a lot of money and we have that status of a diamond or a crown or royal, and we have all these people who love us, and wow. And as you said, you've got network of people who love you. You can travel and you can just call them and they will welcome you to their home. And I'm sure Gretchen and I both have that experience. When I first started, I was like, what, you're going to come and pick me up at the airport?
Right.
What, you called me and you asked me if I want lunch, you're going to bring me lunch?
Right.
What, you're going to send me to the airport too? Are you sure? Yeah. Oh my God, you've done so much for us. It's the least I can do, blah, blah, blah. And I had to remind myself to stay humble.
Right.
Right? Because it's an experience that we would rarely have. And that's also something that I would really like to duplicate on. And one of the reasons why Gretchen and I wanted to invite you to speak to us.
Well, thank you. It's not hard for me to stay humble, Joanne. I have failed 20 times more than I have succeeded. And, if I look at my career, where I started and where I am today, I mean, it's unrecognizable, the success that I've had, which just goes to show you, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be excellent. You don't have to win most of the time. You don't have to be right most of the time. You just have to stay in the game and keep swinging the bat with good intentions. And as you know, not hard for me to stay humble. You know that in 1991 or 2 or something, Gary and I lived in the same town. And we had a mutual friend. And that mutual friend asked me to go visit Gary and give him some advice on starting a network marketing company, which I did for 2 hours. And I told him, I'm not sure how, but I don't know exactly what I said, but I know what I thought. I thought, he doesn't have a prayer. Bad idea. Don't even think about it. And whatever I told him, I don't know, but I know I communicated no encouragement at all. So, 25 years later, I'm at 8%, he's at 40%. My company's like this big, his company's this big. Humility's not hard.
Yeah, thank you.
But thank you. Because it is easy to fall in love with your own opinion and your own press and your own story and think that you matter more than other people. And everybody matters. Everybody's viewpoint matters. And we don't ever know who's sitting in the room and what they might go build. They might build something 10 times what any of us have built.
Okay, Gretchen, what's your next question?
Oh, okay. I'm too involved with writing my notes, and yeah, I've heard of that story. But I just want to really thank Richard for being yourself and being such a noble and humble servant leader. And this is some of the traits that we found successful leaders. But before I ask these questions, the third question I'm going to ask is, why now? Why would people want to join the network marketing with Young Living specifically? Why we have to join now?
Well, I'm a pretty logical person and I'm a math person. And the most compelling reason, Gretchen, is 4 years is coming anyway. I mean, it's coming like a runaway train. It's coming at light speed. And all we have to do is reflect back on. So this is, what, the end of 2023? Do you remember the end of 2019?
COVID.
It wasn't very long ago, right? And all of a sudden, those 4 years are just, boom, gone. And what did we do? What did we create? What did we build? And so the next 4 years are coming just as fast. And why start now? Okay, well, that's one reason. Here's another reason, which is sort of math oriented, but stay with me on this. I know you two will get this. The rest of the audience may need to chew on this a little bit, but let's just say that you are going to do this. And when somebody asks me, like I may be working with somebody enrolling and they say, well, this is great, but this is almost December. And I think I'm going to wait until January to get started, new year, like that. I say, well, that's fine. I get it, right? Holidays, all that kind of stuff. But let me ask you, do you think you're going to be successful doing this? Most people say, yes, I think I'll be successful. Well, given the comp plan and the 4-year career and how it all works, over the next 20 or 30 years, what's the most amount of money you think you'll ever earn in a month? Now, people kind of have to think about that, right? And they'll give a variety of answers. Doesn't matter what the answer is. It's their answer is their answer. So maybe they tell me $1,000 a month, or maybe they tell me $10,000 a month, or maybe they tell me $100,000 a month. Really depends on how well they understand the model, right? And I'm talking about what's the highest income you think you're going to have in any month in the rest of your young living career, 30, 40, 50, 100 years. So let's just say they say $5,000 a month. What I would ask them is the convenience of waiting through the holidays to get to January. Is that worth $5,000 to you? Are you willing to give up $5,000 in order to wait a month? I understand. Well, if you wait a month, your highest month income will always be 1 month further away, perpetually, forever. You lost $5,000 or 50 or 100. So if it's that important to you, I support you. And I could show you how to move through the holidays with family and friends in a natural, authentic way and create momentum. So when January comes, you're like, you got a month worth of momentum under your belt and you don't lose that highest month. I can show you how to do that. Want to see?
Yeah, sure.
So why now? When's the best time to plant a tree? 4 years ago? Now? 3 months from now? Now. If you didn't plant it 4 years from now, 4 years ago, now. And, are there reasons around Young Living? Yeah. I mean, the company is now 30 years old. It's a top 10 company in the world. It is rock solid. There's other reasons why Young Living, the fact that it's family owned and it already has the next generation of family ownership and leadership firmly in place and ready to lead in Jacob, versus if you said, well, Young Living is a public company, or Young Living is owned by an investment group, or whoo, yikes, not interested in that. Too many variables there, too many, who knows what's going to happen in the future of that. Family owned, 30-year track record, top 10 company, 40% plus retention. Another great reason is still most of our sales are North America. Still. And yet, if you look at every other multi-billion-dollar company in network marketing, most of their sales are Asia. So all of our big growth is in front of us.
Yeah, the potential, right? Yeah. So when you talk about the past 4 years during COVID, our team actually took the advantage of being in home, and we get together and learn about your fireside chat, and also we held a book club and learn about your 4-year career book. And we prep ourselves, and we've seen for the past 4 years, after these 4 years of learning and of training, we see a lot of growth in our team. And it's really all about getting the opportunity during winter seasons to prep ourselves and to prep for the upcoming spring and summer, when the season thrives and everything thrives. So it's really important for us to take advantage anytime but now, right? So I really agree with them. Yeah. Joanne, did you want to?
Every month people wait costs them so much.
Yeah. And
the only benefit is some contrived, if I wait, there'll be a better time. It's, what, when it comes to adding something to our lives, there's never a good time.
And I guess a lot of people are waiting to see other people, how they perform. And also because out of fear, they fear about how people look at them, because it's linked with the network marketing big name, So I think it's very important for us not to think too much, but instead take action now.
Yes, because fear is just a story, and what people think about us as network marketers, well, we can't change that. I thought I had a goal when I was coming up as a distributor. I had a goal to somehow create so much success that I could go back and prove to my family and my close circle of friends that they were wrong and I was right. And I was at a state fair in the state of Ohio in 1983 with a leader. I was working with her, and she said, hey, let's take the day off and go to this fair. And we're walking through the fair, and we walk by this booth, and I see in this booth, there's magazine covers, big magazine cover posters of Forbes magazine and Fortune magazine and Success magazine. And Success magazine was my favorite magazine because it was all about personal development. So I said, hey, what is this booth? Let's check this out. So we went and looked at this booth, and here's what this booth was doing. They would put a suit on you, throw a jacket on you with a fake tie, and they would take your picture and they would superimpose it on the cover of any magazine with some kind of headline about how wonderful you were, right? So I thought, oh my gosh, I've never seen a better visioning tool in my life. In fact, I tried to negotiate with the company to let me use the technology in my vision board work. Anyway, I bought 3 of these. Me on the cover of Fortune magazine, me on the cover of Forbes, and me on the cover of Success magazine in 1983. Now, Forbes and Fortune, I just left in a box because I didn't really care about those magazines. But Success magazine was always in my office, on the wall, on my credenza. Success magazine, me, I don't remember what it said, like man of the year or some crazy thing, right? And I didn't do anything to get on the cover of Success magazine, but I always had this vision that if I could ever document my success in mainstream media, my friends and family would have to accept. So, craziest thing in the world happened in 1991. The editor of Success magazine called me and said, hey, we've been doing a story. We've been researching network marketing now for a year, and we're going to do a feature story on the profession, and we want you on the cover. And I said, why me? And he said, well, we talked to this other guy, and the other guy's actually John Fogg, who wrote a book called The Greatest Networker in the World and had this magazine called Upline Magazine. And he said, John Fogg told us about your chicken chopper story. And we really liked that story about the chicken chopper. And I said, well, why don't you have somebody like Rich DeVos on the cover, right? He's the most successful network marketer in the world, founder of Amway. Said, well, we've reached out to him, but he didn't get back with us. So March of 1992, I'm on the cover of Success magazine as I think the byline was OxyFresh sales leaders, create millionaires or something like that. That was my company. And so I creatively kind of made sure people back in my hometown saw the magazine. Guess what? It didn't make any difference at all. It didn't change any minds at all. People are going to think what they think no matter what. And almost all of them are thinking that because if you become successful, they can't justify staying behind any longer. So that it's envy that fuels that criticism. And it's just a decision everybody has to make. What's more important, to be popular and accepted, or to carve out the journey and the destiny that you deserve and that you want in your life? None of my friends have ever paid my bills. We're responsible for creating our life, for whatever we want. We're responsible for creating that income and creating that wealth. And I'm not saying people should do this. I think people should do whatever they want to do. If it's more important to you to be accepted by your friends and family, then this may not be for you. But if it's more important to you to be personally responsible for carving out your destiny and creating the life that you've dreamed of and that you feel like you deserve, doesn't mean you leave your friends and family behind. My high school close friends are still my best friends in the world. And we communicate 10 times a day. They think network marketing is stupid. They sure love coming to my home in Hawaii and playing golf, but they still think it's stupid. Okay.
Yeah, I
I love
totally
that.
relate. I do have a lot of quite a few very good friends who think network marketing is, well, not stupid, but they don't agree that with network marketing. So it's fine. I think just let them, have their
Think what they think, yeah.
think what they
Well, in any case, I think if those friends are going to drop off as your friends because you're doing a network marketing business, I always feel like as you move along life and when you grow to a different person per se, you attract different people into your life, people who are like-minded, people who share similar values, and those will be amazing friends too, right? So if they're gonna stay, they're gonna stay. And I have nearly all of my best friends are product users. They love Young Living and it's really helped their lives. It's up to them whether they want to build a business or not. At least they're using the products and they're benefiting from them, right? And obviously, I think when we all started, we all had family and friends who think we're stupid. This is crazy. Are you insane? And as I said on stage in APAC convention, that when you're the second largest network marketing company in the city, which we are in Hong Kong, and when you've got people who know about the products and people who are changing lives, there's people who would come and say, hey, why did you tell me about this back then? Or, oh, I wish I had joined you back then. I said, you can still join me. There's never too late. There's no time behind. In this company, you don't have to get in first in order to earn the money. You can get in anytime and make a decision anytime and start making the money. There's no deadline. And I love your story. I love sharing that. They still love to come to Hawaii home and play golf.
Yeah. So with all the people around the world, around us, being already in Young Living, a lot of people say that, everyone around me is already a user or already a member. And that's also part of the reasons why they're not getting into the business. So, Richard, I would like to pick from your brain why people would want to, why do you still want to get into the business, and how would people want to join with you and not so many other people who are also doing business? How can we, why would, new member choose the builder to enroll with?
Well, the contrast to, okay, there's a lot of people in town or in my community that a lot of people are using the products. I understand how that could be an excuse to not want to build, but the alternative is what you, not me, but you all faced, which was, oh, we're going to build a business with these products and no one's using them. So it's just a matter of perspective, right? So somebody could look at the fact that, well, no one's using them. How are we going to get anybody to use them? We don't have anybody to even say they work, right? So that could be the excuse. And as you know, that was the excuse for tens of thousands of people that missed the opportunity 10 years ago because they looked around and they did not see any social proof or evidence that this would work. There's nobody doing it. There's no customers. There's nobody at the meeting. There's nobody making any money. I can't do this, right? So some people look at it that way. Some people look at it like, oh my gosh, nothing but opportunity. Nobody's doing this. So a story that I'm reminded of is the shoe salesperson who is sent to the faraway market in a developing country to open the market and sell shoes for this company. And a week later, the shoe salesman wires back to the company and says, don't send any shoes. I have to come back. No one here wears shoes. So that person goes back and they send another person, and that other person is down there just a day. And that person wires back and says, triple the shipment of shoes. No one wears shoes.
Yeah, it's all a matter of perspective.
It is. And well, I can go with either one, right? I can go with nobody's using the product. I recognize that's actually going to be harder. That's going to be harder that there's no social proof, that there's nobody using the products, that I have to get some early adopters who go on faith, and we have to build from ground zero, right? And the exponential growth takes a lot of work to go from 2 to 4 to 8 to 16 to 32. Those generations of customers, that can take a year, and still you only have 32 people using the product. Where 10 years later, you have tens of thousands of people using the product. And so, yes, maybe some of your friends are already using the product, and so you don't get to count them as customers. The trade-off is, when you're talking to somebody who's not yet using the product, you have all this social proof. When they come to a Facebook group or a Zoom, or they come to a live event, like, how many people did you have at the convention, your APAC convention?
1,000.
1,000 people,
1,000,
right?
yeah.
So if I'm a new person and I go to that event, I'm looking around, I'm seeing 1,000 pieces of social proof. But if I'd have gone to that event 10 years ago, it's the two of you in a coffee shop.
We still have 300 10 years ago.
And that's harder to believe. So if I'm going to build, let's say I'm going to start right now, and I'm going to build, versus I could have started 10 years ago and build. I can make a huge case for, I'm better off starting today and building, because if I'd have started 10 years ago and built, odds are I wouldn't have made it. The attrition was 10 times what it is today, because no social proof. Today, tons of social proof. Somebody starting off today, they're inconvenienced by some of their friends are already using the products. That's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. You're inconvenienced. I know you had your heart set on getting her on your team, and she's already using the products. I get it. And that pales in comparison to how you are buoyed with this 10 years of growth and proof and social evidence that the two of you have created for anybody that wants to start today. And I know this for a fact. People that join our business this year, next year, the year after, they're going to set bigger records and make more money than anybody has in the history of Young Living. People starting off new. Why? Oh my gosh. The things that you guys had to go through. I mean, you have horror stories of getting Hong Kong open, and nobody has to deal with any of that stuff today, right? Nobody has to deal with, large, huge back orders, and we're not perfect as a company. We still have, software issues, and, we have issues, right? We're not perfect, but we're 30 years worth of digging the foundation and creating the excellence. And anybody starting today has the benefit of those 30 years and billions of sales and tens of millions of customers and all these testimonials and all these systems that now anybody can just step into, and boom. And the odds of the same person even making it 5 years ago Not even close to what they are today. The odds of you succeeding starting today, way better than if you started 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Now, of course, you can make the case that, well, if you just started 10 years ago, anything that happens today, you benefit from. That's true. But the odds are you wouldn't even be here. You wouldn't have survived the atrocities that the business created. Very few people survived. You did and prospered, and you will always benefit from that. But if I was starting and I was looking for odds of success, I'd start today versus 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very true. That's very true. To clarify, 10 years ago, we had 300 people because I had to bring 300 people into the event, but I actually only had 100 members who attended. And I called every single one of them and begged them to bring 2 people. And everybody did, because I begged them, because I called them by myself on the phone and I talked to them. And I asked every one of them to bring 2 people. And obviously,
you had
those
to do
2
that
people.
for Gary, right? You had a promise to
Yes,
Gary.
I had to do that for Gary. Yeah. So we actually only had 100 people who were willing to go. So I wanted to clarify that for the people who didn't know the story, because I didn't want them to think that, oh, back then 10 years ago, you really had 300 people who would attend the event. No, I did not. I had 100, maybe 80. But I managed to find 200, 300 people, not by myself, but by duplicating it, asking them to each one person bring one. That's really key. And I really have to chuckle when you said horror story, because we did. Horror story is a great word to describe the first 5 years of it. So yeah, you're right. I love the way you explain why they have to start now.
Yeah.
So true.
So I realized that we're only half of the questions being asked, and we're already in an hour. I hope, Richard, you still have time for us. And
I'm
yeah.
fine. I have plenty of time.
Oh, good. We can stay until tonight, Hong Kong time. Anyways, one of our members here, attendees here, have a question. She said, sometimes we get feedback from members who think that they don't know the products enough, or they're not knowledgeable enough to enroll and serve their members. Do you think if there is something related to mindset, what can we help as their team leader?
I love this question.
So I love where you said we don't have to be perfect most of the time. We just have to keep ourselves in the game. So this is also yeah.
Well, there's another version of that is that we don't have to be that smart. In fact, it's not to our advantage.
Yes.
Being educated and smart and having all the answers about the products is a route that a lot of people go because they think they need to. Because they think they need to, because people ask a lot of questions. And so, oh, if I'm a leader, I need to have the answer to all the questions, or I'm not a leader. That makes sense. But in network marketing, the most important thing about being a leader is that you facilitate an environment and a system that's duplicatable. Not that you have all the answers. See, if I have all the answers, I'm not duplicatable. In fact, everybody will use me as a bottleneck. Everybody will rely on me for all the answers, and they won't learn what they need to learn about the products. They'll just rely on me. So I become a bottleneck and my team doesn't duplicate. The other challenge with me having all the answers is my team, especially new people, brand new people, even prospects, may hear me talk about, pontificate about the product. And what they'll say to themselves is, I can't do that. I'll never be able to do that. They might even say, I don't want to do that. And the most important thing for us to create, environment for us to create growth, is we must create an environment where everybody on the team, including people who are looking to join the team, say 4 words. If they don't say these 4 words, growth doesn't happen. And those 4 words are, I can do that.
Mm.
They might even follow it with, I want to do that. But if they say, I can't do that, or I don't want to do that, it doesn't matter how much you know, it doesn't matter how good a speaker you are, it doesn't matter how great a social media you have, nothing matters. New people are not going to join your team, and they're not going to engage. Simplicity and duplication and fun are the words of the day, not knowledge. Now, I'll tell you a story. This is a true story. He recently passed away, but a neighbor of mine, he wasn't a friend, but he was an acquaintance. His name is Ron Purrier. And I think it was generated by AI. It was kind of weird. It just came to my news feed. It was an article that said, the net worth of Ron Purrier. Wow, that's weird. I know Ron Purrier. Let me click on that. Said his net worth was $800 million. It was kind of a weird PR kind of article. But anyway, Ron Purrier lived in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which is where my company was based, and I spent most of my career. He lived right down the lake from me. And Ron Purrier was a farmer in Idaho. Never went to college, just a farmer. Now, Ron Purrier was enrolled into Amway by, crazy small world, but Jim and Sharon Elliott. And Jim and Sharon Elliott live right over here, 20 doors down from me, on Lanai in Hawaii. They are my neighbors. They are our friends. They are emeralds in Amway, which is actually a pretty low rank. They sponsored Ron Purrier 40 years ago. Ron Purrier is a crown diamond in Amway. There's only 12 of them.
Wow.
Ron Purrier, I'm going to get to the point of the story, but I have to give you the context. Ron Purrier enrolled somebody who enrolled somebody who enrolled somebody who happened to live in Seoul, Korea, when Amway was open to the idea of opening Korea. And the person 2 or 3 generations below Ron Purrier pulled a Joanne Kahn and forced it to happen. So Amway opened South Korea. South Korea is Amway's #1 market in the world. Of the $8 billion a year that Amway does in sales, $2 billion come from South Korea. That's $2 billion a year that's almost entirely under Ron Purrier. That's context. Here's the punchline. So when I met Ron Purrier, I took him golfing. And he told me this story. He said, because I asked him, anybody like that would say, what's your secret? How'd you do it? Right. He said, well, one of my secrets was just to be common so that everybody on my team would look at me and say, well, if he can do it, I can do it. So his version of I can do it was different. It was more of a humility, self-depredation version of, well, if that goofball can do it, I can do it. So Ron said his answer to every question, whether it was comp plan, policies and procedures, or product knowledge, his answer went something like this. Somebody'd ask him about, well, is, Ninja Red FDA approved? And his answer would go something like this. Well, I don't know about that. All I know is when I drink Ninja Red, I feel better than I ever felt in my life. Well, Ron, what about the comp plan? Does the comp plan, do we get full compression in the comp plan on all the legs, no matter whether somebody's a customer or a brand partner, if they are not active, do we get full compression? The answer would be, well, I don't know about that. All I know is I place my order every month and they send me a check. And it's the biggest check I've ever seen in my life. It didn't matter what people would ask him. He would give them a cornball answer. So that they would look at Ron Purrier and they would say, well, if that goofball can do it, I can do it. I'm way smarter than he is. Duplication. So the person who thinks they need to know everything about the product. I'm not opposed to you learning anything you want to learn about the product. Just keep it to yourself. And you guys are all smart enough. You probably already have this. Create a database of all the questions and all the answers. And somebody wants to know, go look there. No one needs to become an expert.
Yeah.
All the questions have already been asked and they've already been answered in the last 30 years. No one needs to be an expert. All you need to do is say, oh, go look there.
Yeah, I love it when you said duplication, because we've always been thinking how we can duplicate our and having a system, and then we've been looking for our system for years after we made World Crown Diamond, and finally we learned that giving classes, doing sharings, and putting them on YouTube or Facebook, and having our leaders watch it tens of times, and then just learning it and then just duplicate what we said is already one kind of system and one kind of duplication. Yeah. And so I think this is very important for our leaders or for people who are interested to join the business to know. A lot of people asked us, oh, if we can share this and we can share that. The things that we share are meant to be shared to everyone. And this is part of the duplication, and this is part of the system that we have unconsciously or consciously developed, right, Joanne?
Yeah, the beautiful thing about humans is we can learn anything. So what I like to ask people I'm sitting and talking to is, what do you do for a living? People will tell me, well, I'm a engineer, or I'm a accountant, or I'm a, whatever people are. I say, think about what you do for a living and what is involved in that, and how many years you spent learning and getting certified and whatever to learn how to do what you do for a living. Learning how to do Young Living is 1,000 times simpler than that. There's not that much to learn. And whatever there is to learn, anybody can learn it.
Yeah.
If you're motivated, you want to know how to put on a class, there's a million videos of people putting on classes. Just go watch them, right? Yeah. And you know what? You could actually just play one at your class.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'd do. I'd find
That's what we
who does the
do.
best class, and I just play their video.
We played your video.
Well, I don't do
That's
a
how
good
we
class.
did it. Yeah. The fireside chat, we held watch parties, and then we just do discussions afterwards, and it helps. And this is also part of the system that we figured out.
Yeah, copy people. That's part of the system.
Yeah.
Find somebody who's making it work and copy them.
Yes.
Or just hijack their work and use it.
Yeah. I have a lot of people coming to us, me and Joanne, asking if we can, share what we shared and share our infographics that we've done, and our materials are publicly available, and they are here for you guys to use it and copy it and hijack it for your team. So just feel free to use all of our publicly available resources, including our YouTube channels. This interview with Richard, will be publicly available, and please use it as a watch party with your team and do discussions afterwards. And I'm sure it will help you tremendously.
One of the stories Kimmy, my wife, told me after we were in a relationship, and I met her, she was a 7-figure earner in another network marketing company, and she hired me as her coach. That's we met at a generic event, and that's how we got together. Then we fell in love. And somewhere in there, she told me, she admitted, she said, years before I even knew who you were, I translated your book, The 4-Year Career, into Spanish and sent it to my team in South America, thousands and thousands of copies. And I'm like, yeah. So you and everybody else in the profession, right? I don't care. But hey, that's part of the system. Find something that works and use it. Maybe ask for permission, but use it.
Do we have a last question for Richard? Is
yes.
Why do people want to sign up with you?
Yes, we still have 2 more questions, but
okay.
these 2, I expect a long answer. So some people make it in 4 years according to your book, but some people do it for 8, double or more years, and they're still a silver or executive. So why would that happen? Would you shed some light?
Sure. Well, the 4-year career is not, I didn't pick the 4 years because that's how long it takes. I have some videos that talk about the history of the 4-year career, but I actually landed on 4 years because when I created the model of the 4-year career, long before I wrote the book, I was trying to recruit college freshmen in a marketing class to work with me for the next 4 years while they were in college. And the vision I cast for them is, imagine how cool it would be if you could graduate with an income, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month. Then perhaps you wouldn't have to take the first job offered. Maybe you could travel Europe or Asia. Maybe you could go work on your grandparents' farm. Maybe you could join the Peace Corps. Maybe you could do something before you got sucked into the rat race of just taking a job because you graduated from college, because that's what everybody does. They graduate, they take the first decent job offered to them, and that kind of defines their life. So I was casting this vision about what their life could be like if they graduated college with some financial independence, they could have freedom of choice. That's where the 4 years came from. 4 years while you're in college, work with me. How long does it take to build a network? Well, it could take 4 years. There's kind of some phases. Like phase one is your personal enrollments, like your frontline, the people that you enroll. That's where you start. And in the first year or two, that's where your focus will be, is enrolling those people. Now, how many you enroll really depends on what your goals are. If your goal is to make $1,000 a month, you don't need to enroll 100 people. But if your goal is to make $10,000 a month, you need to enroll at least 100 people. And you need to do it in the first year or two. The third and fourth year are required for exponential growth to mature in your team, for those numbers to grow. So if everything went perfectly in your fifth year, you could be enjoying, and here's kind of the definition of, if you have succeeded in building the 4-year career, your team is big enough, your customer base is big enough that whatever income goal you've set for yourself, you can earn that every month without you having to drive for it. Doesn't mean you don't maintain your team. Think of it like if you own a rental home, right? If you own a rental home, the rent comes in every month. But if people move out, you have to replace them. If the hot water heater breaks, you have to fix it, right? You can't just abandon your rental home and expect to get paid every month. But you don't have to buy the home, right? You bought the home, now you have to maintain it. So the 4 years is like buying the home. Now, that could easily take 7 years. It could easily take 8 years. So if I'm talking to somebody that's a silver and they've been in Young Living 8 years and they want to know why I'm not a diamond, I would very simply ask them, in your first year, how many people did you enroll? In your second year, in your third year, in your fourth year, in your fifth year. And in 95% of the cases, the answer to those questions will tell us why they're still a silver, and it's 8 years later. They've not personally enrolled enough people in a period of time. I've interviewed hundreds of people that have crushed the 4-year career. 10,000 a month, all the way up to 400,000 a month in Young Living and lots of other companies. In their fifth year, 10,000 to 400,000 in their fifth year. Now, not necessarily the fifth year of being in the business, but the fifth year of building with intention. Because some people are in for 2 or 3 years and they're just messing around. But here was an interesting statistic that came out of all those interviews. 95% of the people that made 10 grand a month or more in their fifth year personally enrolled 80 to 100 business builders, not customers, business builders in a 24-month period. So in a 2-year period, they enrolled 80 to 100 brand partners. Anybody that did that in year 5, financial freedom. But the 4-year career is not designed to mandate how much somebody earns and how long it takes. So the question is, if I'm talking to a silver who's been at it 8 years, okay, let's forget the last 8 years because your numbers probably prove you didn't do what you needed to do. What do you want to do in the next 4 years? You want to get to diamond in the next 4 years? All right, so you probably are going to need to enroll 50, 60, 70 people. That's a pace of 3 people a month. How do you do that? Well, you do like 2, 3 presentations a week. How do you do that? You talk to 3 or 4 people a day. That's how it's done. There's no getting around it. There is work, and it is consistent work. I don't consider it to be significant work. How long does it take to ask 3 or 4 people a day if they'll look at Young Living? 5 minutes. You know, I can send a text message. Joanne, you probably know I've been doing Young Living. Maybe you don't know. Maybe you do know. Here's a video. It's 2 minutes long. Would you honor me by watching it? I don't know. I just made that up. How long would it take me to send you that message? 30 seconds. How long does it take me to ask 4 people a day to watch the video? 2 minutes. But I promise you, you ask 4 people a day to watch a video, and you do it every day for 2 years, it'll blow you guys know, it'll blow their mind what happens in year 5.
Yeah.
So everybody that's like, I've been at this for 5 years, 7 years. Yeah, you've been in Young Living, and you've been on some Zooms, and you love the products, and you talk to people, and you've recruited some people, but you have not done the business in a way that produces predictable results. There is a method to crushing it. And it is not doing the business whenever you feel like it. It is systematic, consistent, asking people to look. Because there are very few who are actually going to say yes and engage. And our job is not to sell people. It's not to convince people. It's just to find the people like you. So if you're one of those people, if you're one of those silvers or stars or senior stars, and you're like, hey, you joined. All you're looking for is people like you. And it's not a function of selling them. So don't get yourself all twisted up about they said no, and they don't like it, and they think it's too expensive, and they think it takes too much time, and they think it's a pyramid, and let it all go. You're not looking for them. Go find somebody who's ready. It is a lot easier to keep asking people than it is to convince somebody to change religions. Right?
We have a member who
that's why all the religions send their people, whatever they call them, they're all religions send their people. They send their people to the countries where people are open to new religion, right?
Yeah. We have a member who was asking if there's one video that you will share, what would it be? So
for Young Living?
Yeah. So it's their own video, right? Or is there a video that you would share?
The best video that Young Living as a company has by far is Make a Shift.
I agree.
Now, that video is addressing home toxicity.
Yeah.
So I might send that video if the person I'm talking to, if I think they're interested in that, they might be interested in that. I mean, that's just a fantastic video. If I wanted to sell somebody on network marketing as opposed to a product in Young Living, I might send them my wake up call video. It's called the wake up call. And Kimmy has a great video called People Like Us.
I will need to ask you for the link.
Yes.
I can't Google up. Wake up call, right? And which one is Kimmy's?
I'm gonna post them for you.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
I wasn't talking to you. Sometimes my Alexa joins in the conversation.
Yeah, same as my Siri.
Guys, if you are not opening the chat, I just typed out what Richard just said for the 4-year career and how to do it in note form in the chat, so you can copy and paste.
Wow. You always pleased with Joanne's
I'm gonna drop a few in here. I have a whole list of Young Living videos that I mean, what I would do is I would watch these and then decide which one is the best. Which one do you like? Which one fits your prospect?
Okay. So for those in Facebook Live, I've just copy and paste all Joanne's notes and Richard's comments. And you're free to
I was gonna do
bring
it. I missed my
Okay. So I remember one of your episodes. In fact, it's actually the first episodes talking about, you know, the looking at the people's feet, looking at how much work they've been doing and whether the work that they've been doing are correct or are on the right path. So we have I do see a lot of people who has been around with Young Living and who say that they are you know, building the business, but in fact they think they are building the business, but they're just joining Zoom calls and they're participating in the Facebook lives and, you know, joining and building the business whenever they feel like it. And they're not actually really building the business. So when you say, when you talk about, you know, getting their feet, looking at their feet, what are the actions? I think you've already shared a little bit, you know, talking to people, to 3 or 4 people a day and enrolling 3 to 4 people a month and doing it every day for 2 years. And what else do you think people should, you know, self-reflect themselves if they have been with Young Living for quite a few years, but they're still struggling in the executive and silver rank and thinking that they are doing the business, but in fact they're actually not.
Yes. Well, this is kind of a cold, hard answer to an emotional issue, because it's highly emotional when you've been in the business for however long and you've tried and you've shown up and you've done things and you've gone to events and you've enrolled people and people have quit, and it's very emotional. And so it's very easy for people to create a story that, especially the more years that they've accumulated in Young Living, to create a story that sounds like, well, I've been at this for, right? And I'm not being successful. And they don't realize their language, there's some clues like, okay, at this, I've been at this. Well, what does at this mean? And in most cases, what it means for people is that they've been around, they've been trying, they've been hanging out, they've been loyal, right? They've been like that. And probably maybe the best word to sum it all up is they've been trying. They've been trying their best, right? But the truth is that hanging around and trying is not a strategy, does not produce predictable results. It can produce accidental results times, but if it was going to predict accidental results for you, it probably already have done it, right? So if you've been in Young Living 8 years and you're still a silver, you're probably not the beneficiary of the accidental result. What's left? Predictable. And so what does predictable mean? Well, it's a change in perspective. What it means is that, and it doesn't matter if you've been in 8 years and you're a silver or you're a senior star and you've been in 6 months, it's all the same. Here's the reality. You can hang around for as long as you want and hope that something magical happens for you in Young Living. A lot of people do that. I like to declare that hope is not a strategy. People like hope. Hope feels good, but it's not a strategy. There are strategies that produce predictable results. The problem is they sound like work. They sound like commitment. They sound like discipline. They sound like I have to do that every day. And so what people were oftentimes hoping for, and oftentimes the enroller even presented Young Living as, hey, just join and come to the meetings and tell your story and you're going to start making money, right? Some people were lied to. The reality is there's certain work for predictable result. And here's the work. And it's a lot less work than you might imagine. Like, you don't need to be on social media. I'm not saying don't be, but you don't need to be. It's not about being a social media star or any of that. This is the simple work. Your job as a Young Living ambassador, brand partner, if you want to build a team, your job is you have to ask, however you want to ask, you have to ask people who are not already in if they would look at joining as a customer. Then you can upgrade them to a brand partner, or you can show them the whole thing. I just gave you half a dozen videos you could use you don't have to tell the story yourself. Better if you don't. Use a tool. Ask them to watch a video. But that's your job. And my experience is, if you want predictable results in 4 or 5 years, you have to ask about 4 people a day to watch a video, or could be to come to a class, or whatever your model is. But you have to ask 4 people a day. And the reason it's 4 is you're only going to get 1 to actually engage. If I ask 4 people to watch a video, I'm only going to get 1 to watch it. It's not that the other 4 don't want to watch it or don't like me, or, they're just busy, right? And they may say, oh, well, I'll watch it. They forget, or, right? And so I can only count on 1 person watching it. And then, okay, so now I get 1 person a day watching my video. So that's 7 people a week that watch the video. Well, my experience is if I ask 10 people to look at Young Living and 10 people look, like a 2-minute little look, I'm only going to get 1 or 2 that say, tell me more. The rest of them are going to go, right? Oh, I know about those. I know about essential oils. I know about network marketing. I'm too busy, right? They're just going to blow you off. Doesn't mean they don't want to make more money. Doesn't mean they don't want the benefits of our products. It just means in the moment that you decided, because see, they didn't decide to get prospected. Nobody says to you, hey, send me a video about Young Living. We decide when to interrupt their day. And we decide it's time for them to decide right now whether they're interested in Young Living. We decide that. That's like rude, right? But that's the nature of sales and prospecting. The salesperson decides, okay, it's time for you to look. But the prospect, it's not like they're even thinking, like 5 seconds before you send the video or 5 minutes or 5 days, they're not thinking about, gee, I wonder what's going on with that Young Living company. I wonder if they have any videos I could watch. They're not thinking that, right? They're not thinking anything about Young Living. And all of a sudden a video shows up. So it's not that they are saying no to, I want to get healthier or wealthier. They're not saying no to that. What they're saying no to is, hey, Gretchen, in the moment that you decided to drop that video in my inbox, I don't even have time to look. I'm busy. And they have a myriad of ways of defending themselves, right? I don't have any money. I don't have any time. I'm not a salesperson. I don't do those things. Oh, that's one of those, right? They have all that arsenal. They just throw it at us. But so in order for me to find somebody who's ready, I got to show it to 10 people. And maybe I get 1 or 2 who say, tell me more. Now that's 1 or 2 people a week, preferably 2, who say, tell me more. So what tell me more is, hey, let's sit down on Zoom or in person and let me tell you my story. Let me show you another video that's longer, right? Some kind of a presentation. And there's no magic paint by the numbers to enroll people. You know, it's a crazy journey. Some people have to see 10 videos. Some people have to try 4 different products. Some people have to use the products for 3 months. Some people see it and 2 days later, they enroll and they buy a kit and they're off and running. Everybody's process is different. Our job is to sort of spoon feed people what they want next. The next video, the next product, the next question and answer, the next event, the next experience, whatever they want, until they end up joining. But here's your job, star, senior star, silver. Your job is to consistently, and I'll end with drilling down on that concept. Your job is to consistently ask people to look and then follow wherever they'll take you. Like keep giving them whatever's next and just let the numbers play out. Because if you ask 4 people a day, you'll end up enrolling 2 or 3 people a month. Maybe not in the first month or the second month or the third month, but 3 or 4 months from now, when you stack up asking 4 people a day, you'll start enrolling 3 or 4 people, 2 or 3 people a month. And once you start that, you gain confidence, you start earning money, you have a small team. Now you say, well, how do I get to consistently 3 people a month? Well, start at 1, like get to 1, right? Enroll 1 a month and get good at that. And then go to 2 and then go to 3. You don't ever need to enroll more than 3 or 4 people a month. You can't support more than that. Just let the numbers roll. That's your job. And you must be consistent. Pull out of the book the double a penny every day in the 4-year career. If you double a penny every day, in 30 days, it's worth $5 million. This is a question you all should ask and ingrain in your team over and over and over and over again. You need to ask your team over and over and over again, how much is the penny worth if you double it every other day? And you need your entire team to tell you $163.80. If they can't tell you that number, they don't understand what it takes to build this business. Because almost everybody in Young Living is building a $163.80 business because they're doubling their penny every other day, which is pretty much whenever they feel like it. And the difference between every other day and every day, 163 to 5 million. How could that possibly be? Compounding, the eighth wonder of the world. Consistency. What's the difference between consistently asking 4 people a day, every day, and asking 4 people every other day or every third day? 5 million versus 163. Trust me, your job is to be consistent. But the only thing that really matters is that 5 minutes a day of you making those 4 asks. That's all that matters. You don't need to do anything else other than if people say yes, give them what's next. Just follow where people take you. But if you don't do the 4 asks a day, nothing else matters. So when people ask me, well, how much time is it really going to take for me to launch my business and get this thing going? 5 minutes a day. You got 5 minutes a day? They said, how could that possibly be? It's 4 messages. They each take about 30 seconds. And, you know, each one of them can pretty much be the same message. So copy and paste. You could actually get it down to 90 seconds if you want. Well, who do I send the message to? Start at the top of your contacts, the A's. Part of your job is you don't get to judge whether or not they're interested. You don't get to judge whether or not they're a prospect. If they have a bank account, they're a prospect. If they have a body, they're a prospect. How about you not be judge and jury and decide whether somebody wants to make extra money or wants to enjoy better health? How about just let them decide? So you don't need to spend any time trying to figure out who to ask, and you don't need to spend any time trying to figure out what to say, because it's, would you look at this video? Link. 5 minutes of consistency. And here's the last thing I'll say about that to all of you out there struggling with the whole trying thing. Young Living is offering you an opportunity to be financially independent. Now, that means different things to different people. It might be $1,000 a month to you. It might be $5,000 a month. It might be a lot more. But they're offering you that opportunity. And I don't know who else is offering you that opportunity. Where else have you been given that opportunity in your life? And what is that opportunity worth to you in your life? What's it worth to you to spend the rest of your life not worrying about money? And how about spend the rest of your life immersed in a product line that's going to, at every turn, enhance your health and well-being? What's that worth to you? That's what Young Living is giving you. And, you know, if you're going for $4,000 or $5,000 a month, that's making you a millionaire. That's what that income is worth. It's worth $1 million. So what I ask you is, what are you giving Young Living in exchange? People say, I'm too busy. I can't do this every day. I don't have time. Okay, that's your choice. But don't expect Young Living to make you a millionaire if you're not even willing to go to work. We're not talking about 8 hours a day. You start with 15 minutes. You create some success, might grow to an hour to support your success, might even grow to 2 hours if you're wildly successful. But anybody that's working Young Living 8 hours a day is spending 7 hours of it trolling social media. Right? They're looking what everybody's doing. Did I answer that question, Gretchen?
Yeah. Last question we have for you today is you've been in the business for so long, right? And you've been coaching a lot of top leaders. What are the common traits of people who become successful in network marketing? And are these traits differ from those who are successful in Young Living?
Well, the first trait for successful in network marketing, and I believe in Young Living too, is self-motivation. So there's a lot of things to do. There's a lot of obstacles, right? There's people that say no. There's, I have to find the time to talk to people. I have to be concerned about rejection. I have to nurture people that join. I have to deal with people quitting, right? There's a lot of stuff in the journey to be successful. And if a person is self-motivated, what that means is they have an internal story that sounds like, this is what the story sounds like. The work is worth it. I expect to be successful. I don't guarantee that everybody I'm going to work with will be successful, but I know anyone can. So I'm being of service in offering this opportunity. I enjoy the work. I enjoy serving people. I enjoy solving problems. I enjoy offering opportunity. I enjoy getting to know people. I enjoy listening to people. I enjoy being curious about people. It's okay with me if people say no. I'm not looking for everybody. I'm just looking for the people like me. That's my story, right? So people that are internally motivated, they have a story that sounds like they're of service and they're going to be successful no matter what. People who are externally motivated, their story sounds like, well, that person just said no. So I don't know if this is going to work. All right, I'll ask somebody else. So I asked somebody else and they said no. And oh, that's 2 people in a row that said no. I don't know. This isn't much fun. But okay, I promised. So I'm going to ask somebody else. So I asked a 3rd person. They said no. I don't know. I don't know if I can do this. But I'm in an accountability program. So I'm going to ask somebody else. And they said yes. So I'm like, oh, awesome. This is great. I'm excited. So now I'm going to ask somebody else. And they say no. And I don't know what happened. I thought this was going to work. And I asked someone else, and they say no. And I forgot about the person that said yes. And the only thing I can remember are the people that say no. But I'm in an accountability program. So I asked somebody else. And they say maybe. And so I go, oh, maybe. In other words, I'm like in and out based on every result, circumstance out in the world. My shipment is back ordered. I'm in a funk. I can't log on to the website. I think I need to quit. People say no. I don't think I can do this. I'm at the effect of every circumstance out there. Those are externally motivated people. And the only time they're excited is when something good visits them. The problem is they joined a profession where almost everybody says no. So an externally motivated person is dead in the water in network marketing, because all the people they talk to are going to drive them right out of the business. The only people that make it are people that create a vision and a set of truths that they make up. They just create the vision, they create the story, and they go manifest it in spite and regardless of the results. It's like the deck of cards, right? How many aces are there in a deck? How many? 4. Are there always 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a self-motivated network marketer knows. They make it up, but they also know, wow, if I talk to 52 people, I'm going to find 4 that say yes. They just know that, right? So every time they talk to somebody, so an externally motivated person, they're like, right? But the king doesn't get in because they're not an ace. The king's actually worse than an ace because the king pretends they're going to get in and they waste a whole bunch of your time, right? Oh, yeah, let's meet again. Let's talk about it again. I'm thinking I'm about to. Yeah, let's, right? And then they finally flake out on you, right? And then, externally motivated person, funk. Oh, no, I just prospected a joker. Almost everybody quits when they prospect a joker, right? But an internally motivated person, not an ace. Not an ace. Not an ace. Got. But the ace could have been 20 cards down. The more people who say no, the more excited the internally motivated person gets because they know they're closer to a yes. That's the kind of people that make it in network marketing. And also people that realize, if I do this right, I could be set for life. And that is worth me going to work consistently and finding the people who have done it and studying them, going to school on them. And one of the coolest things in the world about network marketing is you take the hundreds of millions of dollars in commissions that are earned every year in Young Living. Actually, it's close to $1 billion a year in commissions that are earned in Young Living. And all of those people and all of that wealth, all they want to do is tell you how they did it. For free. That's the craziest thing in the world. So people that make it, they're not normal. They're not average. People ask me sometimes, what's the average person in network marketing make? Nothing. They don't make anything. What's the average person in Young Living make? Nothing. Nothing. Average. They're a customer, which we greatly appreciate. That's how we get paid. What do they earn? Nothing. What do extraordinary people earn? Look at the income disclosure statement. That's what extraordinary people earn.
Thank you for the compliment.
It was intentional.
I love your deck of cards. I gotta get one of those.
Every leader must have a giant deck of cards.
So every time somebody comes to me and say, "Oh, I feel so sad. I talked to this person. They said no." I'm gonna screenshot a 6 and send it to them. It's just a 6. It's fine. The ace is gonna come along. But that's exactly my
it's a fundamental belief of almost every network marketer. They believe the more people who say no, the less likely their success is. They believe that. It's in their body. So the more people who say no, the more depressed they get. And then they bring that depressed person to the next prospecting conversation. So after 7 or 8 or 10 no's, they're like, you wouldn't probably want to join. No, I know you probably wouldn't want to. Forget I even mentioned it.
Oh my God. Like, it's an exaggerated version, but it's so true.
And we know the people we're looking for are out there.
Mhm.
And we know that just because you said no, you're not saying no to Young Living. You're not saying no to these products. You're not saying no to more money. I know what you're saying no to. You're saying no to, hey, buddy, in the nanosecond that you decided to drop that video in my inbox and disrupt my day, what I'm saying is, no, I'm not thinking about that, and I'm not going to think about that. That's all I'm saying no to. And I also know that no doesn't mean no, because if I interview everybody in Young Living and I ask them, how many times did you say no before you said yes? The average is like 4 no's before you said yes. So I would ask everybody out there who's looking at your list and ask you, how many times have you asked everybody on your list? And they're going to say, well, I've asked everybody on my list. Why haven't you asked them? Well, they said no. How many times did you say no? Oh, 3. Well, it sounds like you better ask everybody at least 3 times, right? I mean, I said no 4 times, and I meant it. And then life changed. Like that. And I looked again and I said, I don't even know what I'm looking at, but maybe.
This is so
We know that. The people who fail don't know that.
yeah.
They think no means no. They think no means they don't like network marketing. They don't like me. They think I'm stupid. They think I'm a loser. And they think the more people who tell them no, the less likely it is that anybody's going to tell them yes. And the truth is, the whole thing works just the opposite.
Mm. Yeah. I don't know how
And
many.
here we are, people that have made tens of millions of dollars telling you it works just the opposite as you think it does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can believe you, who hasn't made anything, or you can believe us. Your choice.
Yep.
Do you have another question for Richard?
We finally asked our questions of the day, and we've actually run out 1 hour beyond our scheduled time. But thank you so much for Richard, who has so generously offered his time for us. Can't say enough thank you for Richard.
You're welcome.
Who you
My
have
great
brought
honor.
so much wisdoms to us, and especially when times during the hard times when we've seen leaders leaving the company, and you have given us so much of your wisdoms and sharing on how we should treat hardships during our our emotions during our hardships. And these are all something that only only you and maybe a few in this community would have shared with us, and the nobility and the humility that you have showed to us. It's really an honor for us, Joanne and I, to have invited you to this sharing. And before we close, Joanne, would you like to?
Okay, before we close, because there are people who are in this Zoom, or we will be posting this openly for people who, a lot of them are not in our team. So I would like to let you guys know that, so Richard Brooke has a website, and he has a group called Why Young Living, Why You. You can find it, and you can ask to get in, and then it'll be approved. And Gretchen and I both have our own YouTube channel. Both of them are both in English and Chinese, and we also have an oil matter YouTube channel that we've uploaded all our training. So this will be uploaded over there too. So it's all of these information are open to everybody in Young Living who would like to learn.
And the diamond interviews as well. The Road to Diamond.
Oh, yes. And Road to Diamond. Yes, Richard also has the Road to Diamond. So if you go to his website, you'll find all that information. The Road to Diamond is, he's interviewed lots of diamonds and asked a lot of different questions. We can all learn from them. So these are all open platforms that you can learn. So there's no excuse that you don't have upline support, because you've actually can find a ton of information. I've actually also have a series of YouTube videos called 101 Reasons to Fall in Love with Young Living. I spent 14 episodes. Each episode is about 2 hours. And I talked about the Young Living story, the history of how Gary started the company. I think that's really important for everybody to know if you want to build a Young Living business and be successful because of the background of the company. That's also on my YouTube channel. So there are loads of information if you need. And yes, we'll thank everybody for tuning in for 2 hours. And thank you, Richard, again.
Yeah, you're welcome. I am so inspired and honored to be in partnership with you two glorious leaders. You demonstrate so beautifully what it means to be a Young Living leader in spirit and performance. So thank you for including me. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody. So it's time to say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.